welcome to episode 201 of Zapped to the Past. I am Adrian Mills and I'm joined as always by Mr. Graham Raddings. If you haven't listened before, this is a podcast where we discuss games that were released for the Commodore 64. Last week, in amongst everything else, we looked at our second batch of games from issue 80 of Zap 64, which we are in no way affiliated with, and we're looking for our lost manhood in Toki, fought robotically in Final Blow, and stepped on many a trap in Sleepwalker. This week, we continue our look at the games in January 1992, along with what was also going on at the cinema that month. Graham, it's almost all budget this week, but does that mean budget bargains or budget bastards?
Finally, we're down to the last bite of the January 1992 C64 pie, with something of an odd filling too. A mixed bag of budget games are all in full effect this week, and so, in a month where the US government urged doctors to stop using silicone breast implants for health reasons, we climb into the cockpit of a warplane and take to the skies of the Gulf as we once again side-scroll along and shoot down everything possible in the name of peace and freedom in F1 Tornado, before we nip out of Budget Avenue for a minute and head to Full Price Lane, only to find it full of cobwebs and gothic dresses and push-up bras, as we once more strut around looking for something to do with Elvira, the arcade game. The C64 gaming bag for life is not exactly filled to the brim with quality items at the minute. Even the budget games are starting to look tired and riddled with deja vu. Still, at least you haven't paid full price to wander around a bunch of dreary blocky levels dressed in a gothic dress. Oh. Anyway, for the final double C64 teabagging this week, we head up and away as we live out the life of a Fall Guy pilot of sorts, shooting some kind of movie by scrolling up and shooting everything in sight in the thematically unhinged Sky High Stuntman, before we finally pop on our jolliest red suit, gather up a couple of reindeers and take to the skies. Again, only this time to ensure we can deliver presents no matter what by shooting and avoiding an assortment of Christmas stuff in the jingly Santa's Xmas caper. 1 month down, a few more to go. We are clumping towards the end game now, and still we find there are things to play, games to try, and wide-scale disappointment to feel. The C64 never fails to deliver on at least some of those. However, in the words of Lenny Kravitz, baby, it ain't over till it's over. I'm definitely leaning towards bastard. With a hint of bargain.
There's a hint of it's a mixed bag in it. It's a bit of a mixed bag this week. But it is three budget games, and a full price one. It's a weird game, but it's how the cookie crumbles at.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I think that's got to be a recurring theme for the year ahead. I think budget titles.
Yeah, I think you're right. 3 budget games and a full price. 0898 treble two. Oh, that full price. Oh,
I'll do anything for £4.
Some people, it sounded like they probably would have.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. Well, they did when I rang them up.
Exactly. Is that the Meatloaf song, the original version? I will do anything for £4, but I won't play that.
I won't play Elvira, the arcade game.
God, no.
And you shouldn't.
No.
I'm not giving that away. So I hope you enjoyed last week, and maybe you haven't listened to it all yet.
You might not have got through it all. It's a bit epic.
Yeah, but I don't think this week's going to be quite as epic.
No, my feeling is it's probably going to be at least, it isn't. No, that's not a feeling. It's definitely not.
It's not going to be as epic as last week. No, it's a much more. This is the morning after.
So we've landed our spaceship now, and we've parked that in the spaceship
Dizzo,
park,
wherever. Well, we probably crashed it because we didn't have a docking computer.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, you can't afford them; they're too expensive. You need to trade a lot of whatever it is you trade between Dizzo and Lane these days. I don't know. Sand.
Who knows? I certainly don't know. Do you know, by the way, I haven't said this yet. There's no charts anymore. Just letting you know for next week.
No. Really? Not at all?
Yeah, no. CMVG, where I used to get the charts from, because obviously there's no Commodore use has gone Amiga. There's very few Commodore mags around anymore, and the only one that was kind of doing multi-format charts was CMVG. Seems to have stopped as of 1992. It's basically 16-bit and consoles only.
No, they're just not being considered chart-worthy. That's a bit of a loss, isn't it, really?
Well, I don't think CMVG covers 8-bit stuff from 92 onwards. I couldn't even see any reviews for anything in it. So when I had a look.
Suppose we are in the 90s,
92. We are 10 years in for the Commodore 64 now.
Yeah, I think the chart
10th year of production.
I mean, they took budget out of it, didn't they, to sort of shore the banks, as it were, for all the big expensive games. But in actuality, they probably looked at that and gone, "Oh no, put the budget ones back for God's sake."
And then went, let's not bother anymore.
Exactly.
Who cares about this Commodore 64 chart?
Exactly.
Literally, who cares?
Exactly that.
But so if you're expecting a chart at the end of episode 202, you're going to be sorely disappointed.
We could invent one, but it wouldn't mean anything. It would be timeless and out of time, wouldn't it? We could just make shit up.
Yeah, the only chart still going is the readers chart in Zap, but it's pointless because it's just, I like these games. And it's like, no.
It's the Games Master. I really like this game. Good, because it's number 1 now. Oh, it's not a chart.
Yeah, exactly. We need a sales chart. Cold hard sales or nothing.
They need sales for that.
there is that.
It was hard to compile the chart out of the 9 people that bought games that month.
What was number 1? This sold 1. It came in second.
How many did that sell? None.
Just put some titles in the charts. Who cares?
Aye.
Is anyone checking at this point? We should just do our own chart.
We might do our own chart for a laugh. We could actually give it sort of we could look over the month, couldn't we, and sort of imagine where we would have put those games or something. Maybe we'll do something like that.
Maybe. We'll see at the end of next week.
Or maybe we just can't be bothered and screw the charts and everything they stand for anyway.
Absolutely. Stupid things. Never liked them anyway. Anyway, should we get some games? We've got 4.
I think we should. Yeah, we should really.
All right, and let's get on to our first game of the week. And that first game is over to you, Graham, to tell us all about F1 Tornado.
F1 Tornado. That's nothing to do with this. I just thought I'd sing a random song about it.
No, it's not.
This isn't going to take long. This is a $3.99 game, so it's double budget, isn't it? DB, double budget. That's the budget price these days, isn't it? 92, it's the 90s budget price, isn't it? So
yeah.
It got 83%, though. Okay, that's not sleight of hand, is it? That's something. It was a Zeppelin game, of course it was, because they're pretty much all that's left now in the game development thing. Now, this was designed by Wahid Khan. It was coded by Wahid Khan. Now, he's only done this one, as far as I could ascertain. But I imagine it sounds like a name of a person that's gone on to do great things. Khan! Maybe that, who knows?
Travel through time and stabbed at thee from Hell's Heart.
Yeah, he found the Genesis device, and then he had a go at Kirk, didn't he? I don't know that Wahid Khan did that, but anyway. Graphics here, Neil Hislop. He did the graphics for Sleepwalker, so it's obviously keeping it in the Zeppelin fraternity, as it were. Title screen, Chris Howard, and musician was Andrew Roger, who also did the music for Sleepwalker, as we have come to know it. So the blurb for this, now, I actually had trouble finding the C64 blurb, and then I did find it. And luckily, it's identical to the Spectrum one in almost every way, but not identical to the Amiga one. The Amiga one has subtle differences. So luckily, I found the 8-bit variation of this, which I think is important. And there's also, there's a couple of things that are quirky about this as well. So it's a short blurb. It's not going to take long. It says, the F1 Tornado flies from the Allies' aircraft carrier based on the edge of the Gulf battle zone. So you know where this has been placed. Your mission is to seek out and destroy all enemy installations, frigates, aircrafts, tanks, and gun emplacements. As well as its oil-cooled machine guns, the F1 Tornado can pick up further weapons from destroying enemy aircraft. Insert the word helicopter there. Mm-hmm. When a fighter carrying a sophisticated weapon system is destroyed, that's a helicopter to you and me, picking up the weapon system icon allows you to choose from the following. Reverse fire positions the machine guns to fire to the front and rear to remove the threat of tail attack. Double fire doubles the firing capacity of the machine guns with devastating results. That's actually triple fire on the C64 one, I think, because
it is.
There's slight variations. It does say double fire in the C64 instructions, though, so okay. Speed up gives the F1 a greater speed and maneuverability for dogfighting. Okay. Insert impossible to control, really. Heat-seeking missiles forms a shield of fire around the F1, and cluster bombs, the latest explosive technology, makes these bombs capable of performing extensive damage, but you'll never find them, because I don't think they're in this game at all.
I don't either.
And the rest of the blurb, I will read it, because I think it's important. It says, once a weapon system has been installed, the F1's onboard computer flashes up the equipment available. Now on the C64, it's pressing space, selects the weapon for use for a measured period of time. Collecting more weapon system icons allows the weapon to be used for a greater period of time. Prepare for battle. You only have 3 chances to complete your mission. Best of luck. Best of luck. Best of luck. Best of luck. That's it, really. You don't need a lot of introductions and stuff for this game, do you really?
No.
So it's got a nice, I guess it's pretty rudimentary, but it's got an okay title screen as such. It had a loading screen that was okay as well. I seem to remember it flashed up quite quickly on the version I was playing. But it's adequate.
The tornado is revealed.
Yeah. It's all adequate, and there's some decent music as well. The actual production of the game for the money isn't so bad. I'll give it that. But ultimately, this is a fairly rudimentary side-scrolling shoot 'em up. 4 levels to go at, which loop around as well. So 4 levels finish, go, and it's back to the beginning again, and around you go. Control with the joystick, no auto fire, so you're hammering the button. Very standard stuff indeed. Graphics are okay on the whole. I thought maybe a tad chunky for the background details, but you've got some details there. Nice ships and such like that, pyramids and things like that. There's quite large bosses as well. The world's largest tank. That tank must be extraordinarily big.
It's got to be massive. It's ridiculous.
An F1 Tornado aircraft is about the size of a tank, isn't it? Probably slightly bigger actually, but in terms of its, not necessarily its volume, but
unless that tank is very close and the F1 fighter is very, very far away. Which
would be almost pointless fighting it that way. And it's weird that, you can defeat the tank fairly easily, but I will come to that a little bit. But anyway, other than the ginormous tank, and there's bosses at the end of each of those 4 levels, the background details are chunky, but they're adequate. And, there's a little bit of animation on the water in the first level where you've got these sort of aircraft carriers and ships and destroyers at the bottom. It doesn't look terrible. I mean, it looks a bit out of time for 1992, but it's all right. It's all right. And the main window of the game is the top, I'd say 4/5 maybe, with the bottom showing your score, the little mini UI showing your score, number of ships remaining. Number of planes remaining. Power up that you've got, weapon, and the level time for reasons. The colours I thought were okay, generally speaking. I thought that some of the sprite animations actually on this are pretty good. When some of the aeroplanes are coming towards you, though, when they turn away from you, they have a dark underbelly. So there's a bit of shadowing going on. And that's quite a nice touch. That gives them a little bit of depth, which is a little detail that you don't often see in games like this. I quite liked it for that. So there's little sprite animation details. The actual UI is very simplistic, but it is what it is. This game is simplistic. It's a budget game after all. But it doesn't look too bad. Things move around pretty well. There's a lot going on, I think. Bullets will target you that are shot out of the various gun emplacements, but some of the airplanes will just get in the way. Others will shoot at you, and then there's other things, helicopters and things that sort of get in your way. It's one of those, it's a bit of a mixture between shoot 'em up and scramble, actually, in some ways, but without the ability to drop bombs on anything. So you've got to kind of avoid hitting things more often than not, shoot at the enemies as well, and blow them up. Like I said, there are helicopters that will drop power-ups, and you fly into them, and my advice, if you are going to play this, is make sure you get the heat seeker power-up wherever possible, because that's really the only one that makes a difference to the actual way you play the game. It's the only one that gives you an advantage in the game, actually. Maybe the triple shot, but that one particularly. But that leads me neatly, actually, to kind of my main issue with it as well. And that's the way you select the power-ups. So helicopters drop them, and then you'll see a little icon in the sky, and then you fly into that, and then you display on the bottom right-hand corner will cycle through the various weapon options. And then when you see the one you want, you press the space bar. Now, that enables it for the time it lasts. And if you get another one and press the space bar on the same power up, it extends it. It's all good. That's fine. Or you can use one of the other ones. And you do keep them if you die as well. But ultimately, that moment where you're required to look off the game in a game like this, which is frantic a bit, actually, with lots of stuff, bullets and things going around the screen and movement, that moment where your eyes off the ball, as it were, and you cast an eye at the UI, it's a distraction that will cost you a life in this game. It simply does. Especially later on. You don't really stand a chance, because this, the scenery in this game, you can't fly over. The ships you'll hit, if you hit them, you blow up. There's some other levels, if you hit stuff, you blow up. If you hit enemies, you blow up. So you can't just fly willy-nilly in this. You've got to be avoiding stuff and also the enemies, and which means you've got a tight screen real estate to navigate. If your mind isn't on that just for a second, even if it's only a microsecond while you're faffing about pressing space but looking to make sure you get the right power up, you can be done and out of a life. Now you do restart with it starts flashing, so you've got a few seconds of invulnerability, so it's not like you're just going to spawn and die. And you start exactly where you left off, but you do lose a life, and lives are kind of key here. There are ways of getting extra lives and things like that in this, but in reality, you'll burn through them pretty quick because that power-up system, and it is pretty limiting as well. The speed-up power-up is just a recipe for death. That may as well just call it death speed, because as soon as you get that, you'll just turbocharge into something immediately. It makes it the best speed to play it is the speed that you have. Don't get the speed up, whatever you do.
Don't ever get the speed up. No,
and the reverse shot is basically useless because not many enemies attack you from behind in this, as far as I could see. Not loads.
No.
So the whole power-up thing, it's kind of been resolved, doesn't it, for games like this? I mean, why not have the icons shootable in like they have in other side-scrolling shoot-em-ups? So it drops like a thing, you shoot it to get the power you want, you fly into it, you've got that power-up.
Well, it does rotate, doesn't it? It does actually change through the different ones. So why can't you just fly into it when it's the one you want?
Yeah, that, or to activate it, just a longer press maybe on the joystick. Instead of having to press the spacebar, which is it's an unnecessary distraction. But like I said, these kind of game mechanics have been resolved long ago for these kind of shoot-'em-ups, which makes me think this was coded quite a while ago. Anyway,
maybe.
It is what it is. So it's a bit of a step backwards in that respect, but there isn't a lot more to it. That's kind of it. Fly, shoot, get to the ginormous tank, shoot that. Next level, fly, shoot, get to the 2 helicopters, and you'll just do that through the 4 levels. And, maybe you'll have fun doing that, maybe you won't. But it's just, there isn't a lot more to it. It's a very, very standard side-scrolling shoot-'em-up for budget money. And I suppose in that respect, it's not bad. I thought it looked pretty good for what it is. It moves around fine. There's enough details to keep you happy for £4. It is very difficult. But I suppose the difficulty is really the only thing that's going to keep you wanting to play it a bit more. And these things are always difficult. So I think it's actually probably pitched about right for £4. And so it'll keep you coming back, I think. It's got a really big high score table as well, plenty of entries in there. So it means that you can sort of, instead of it being kind of the standard 10, it felt like there was quite a large table, which means it's encouraging you to go for repeated plays. And in all fairness, you could learn some of the patterns and maybe just have a bit of a blast with it. It's a non-thinking game. It's an old school game in many, many ways, very back to basics. And for the money, well, I thought it was a half-decent blast, actually, aside from that annoying power-up thing. As with a few of these budget Zeppelin games, I don't think it would have taken too much to push it into better territory. So more levels, maybe a 2-player option, longer levels, and perhaps more power-ups and superpowers, upgradable ships or something like that. Those kind of things would have elevated this, but that would have elevated the price, wouldn't it? And the amount of time it took to do and probably where they found this, which is, I think, in someone's cupboard. So it's a competent budget shooter. It's not offending anyone. Would I put this 83%? I think the budget price is doing a lot to massage that percentage. I think for me, it's a bit more of a 65 to 70. It's a bit of a 3/4. It's certainly not a bad game and playable, but it's not going to set you on fire. And I think around this time, you can also get some of the classic side scrollers now for budget money. So Armalite, I think, was not long ago on budget, or imminently if it isn't already. So I imagine it's competing in a fairly heavy pond, but at the same time, it's all right for what it is. It's certainly not the worst side-scrolling shoot we've had for this kind of money. So, but what did you make of it all?
Yeah, I thought this was actually another decent little game from Zeppelin. It's a solid horizontal shooter, but I think it could have perhaps done with a little bit more variety and music in the main game.
Yeah, sound effects only in it.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the blasting here. Although it's quite constant, I would have liked to be able to just hold the fire button down around the old tapper. There's certainly a lot of enemies coming at you, and it's fast, glitch-free. I didn't notice any glitches or anything, I'd say that's a solid piece of code and everything. Like you, I've noted that I like the shading on the sprites as well. Some nice touches there. Animation on them as they roll in at you. That's quite good. The size feels good. You've got a lot of green real estate to move around in, even though some of the boats take up a lot of it. But everything feels quite nicely scaled until you get to that tank.
It is a big tank.
That tank at the end of level 1 must be absolutely massive if you're in a standard sized jet. I mean, it's how big is it? I'm looking at it now, sort of thinking it's about 10 stories tall.
Yeah, if you compared that, if you took the actual size of an average F1 Tornado in length and height and multiplied that by the size of how many stacked high and wide it is,
it's like a football stadium.
Yeah, that is a football stadium with a turret,
which is crazy. But it's dead easy to kill as well. Yeah, especially it's dead easy to kill, especially if you've got the whatever it's called, the heat seeker, which is a stupid name for it.
Fly just beyond its turret, and it shoots one bullet backwards, so you can just avoid that one.
Dodge around it. Yeah, it's dead simple. Like I said, it's nice. It's easy to kill though. There's some power ups, like you said. You never choose anything other than the heat seekers, which is a stupid name from anyway, because they're not heat seekers. It's just
all the weapon names are wrong, aren't they? They're kind of all wrong.
Yeah, so apart from speed up, which is death speed, as you said.
Yeah.
I mean, reverse fire is reverse fire. The only time I use that was to shoot. There's those turrets on the ship behind the thing, which you can't get into the front of. And if you go get the reverse fire, that was the only thing I ever killed with the reverse shot. And I realized never picked that. So, it is what it is. It needed some music though. Even if the music from the title screen had kept playing, it would have made it more enjoyable. And it did. actually, because I put Lemon on in the background, Lemon 64, put the music on there and then played the game.
Blasted through, yeah.
Yeah, and it was a lot more enjoyable to play with that music just strumming along, way more enjoyable. But, some nice theming as ever. A nice title screen. Did like the UI design at the bottom as well with the F1 tornado in the F1 and the sort of the waves and the sort of sun and the sun in the background. That was quite a nice little design at the bottom. But yeah, it's all right. It's a decent game if you want a no-frills blaster. There's nothing else to this. It's 4 levels of shooting other planes and helicopters over a sort of... It reminded me tonally of, what was is it Fighter Pilot? Was it Fighter Pilot?
Fighter Pilot. Yeah.
The one, Fighter Pilot 1 and 2, is it? The one I'm thinking of, where it's sort of back and forth in the Harrier jump jet. Is that Fighter Pilot?
I think it was, the one that guy made ages ago.
Yeah, there's 2 of them, weren't there?
Yeah.
So it reminded me, thematically, it looks like that.
Yeah, yes, it does.
Which is fine. Well, it is what it is. It's a product of its time. You're flying over sandscapes, shooting enemy planes. But it is what it is. It's an okay no-frills blaster.
It just occurred to me that the pyramids are really small on that as well. So that tank really is big. It's bigger than a pyramid.
That's what I mean.
It's bigger than the pyramids of Giza. You don't want that coming at you. And to think, if you're in a tiny little aeroplane, you I'm going to have to shoot that.
And then you just fly behind it and just shoot with your 8-way. I can't imagine trying to take that out without the 8-way. It'd be a bit of a pain, but...
It would be tremendously difficult, wouldn't it?
It's a massive tank. But, there you go. That's the comment on this, I think. That's what I'd have put that on the front of the box. Massive tank, !
Yeah, I agree.
There you go. F1 Tornado. It ain't bad. But
nope.
I'm going to say this. It ain't the best blaster we're going to play this week.
No, it's not. No.
So let's move on to our next one, which isn't a blaster, but anyway, we'll get to that. And our next game, well, this is a full price one. This is the one full price game amongst the budgets. It's Elvira, the arcade game. So it was only June 1991, episode 183, in fact, when we last had an Elvira game, and that was the frankly unplayable first-person thing that had no business being on the C64.
Yeah,
with awful combat and protracted loading. It wasn't very good. Exploring that bloody castle thing. Back then, Elvira was just a person giving us the quest. But now we actually get to play as Elvira herself in Elvira, the arcade game. Hopefully it'll be somewhat better. Only got 40% though. Ooh. It was $9.99. This was published by Flare Software. Flare, they did the other Elvira game. It was coded by Ian Davison. He did such delights as Beverly Hills Cop, Summer Olympiad, Superman, Man of Steel, and Winter Olympiad 88.
Well, they weren't all bad.
No, they weren't all bad. So I said, such delights. Sometimes I do mean the words I say. They're not in a derogatory way.
There's some trinkets in there.
Yeah, the graphics were courtesy of Mark Sample and Philip Nixon, both of whom worked on both the other Elvira games. There's another Elvira game coming somewhere along the line. Music here, probably the best thing about the whole game, actually, is by Adam Gilmour.
Yeah, it's good music.
Great music on the title screen. According to the wiki as well, this game is loosely based upon the film Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. I'm not too sure about that.
Is it?
Yeah, that's what it says in the wiki. Anyway, there's a long story to this, so, sit down. It goes like this. Elvira, the buxom beauty of the night, lives in a typical American 1900 wooden colonial house, all decked out in the most tasteful decor you could ever imagine. The walls are a nice shade of black, the ceilings drip with silky cobwebs, and the occupants are strange, to say the least. The rooms smell musty with a hint of burnt socks. Or is it
Gary's
incense?
Bedroom. It's Gary's room.
That's not socks, it's burnt something. The furniture looks as though it has come from another world. Red leather suite, a silver metallic table, with matching elephant tusk chairs. If it's comfort you want, then this is not the house to come to. The choice of music is also weird, even by heavy metal standards. This is not the type of music to impress a future mother-in-law.
No.
Not that Elvira has had the opportunity or the need to impress anybody. It's just as well that the lady has large assets. We mean her house, of course. And other valuable belongings, if you get the drift.
Yeah.
Elvira always had a burning ambition to go back in time and check out her ancestors. One evening, after a few drinks, she fell asleep in her 3-poster bed, the fourth having been breakfast, lunch, and dinner for a rather large and hungry family of termites. Don't ask. That night there was an almighty storm. The wind blew, the rain lashed down, and lightning streaked across the sky, lighting up the whole house. It was enough to waken the dead, and that is exactly what it did. Elvira woke with a start, not sure whether it was the drink from earlier on or what. At the bottom of her bed stood a ghostly figure dressed in a highly regal and colourful robe. The character beckoned Elvira to join him downstairs in the study. Elvira was glad to do so, although in her own words she said, "It's not very often I get out of bed for a man."
Okay.
I hope that's her voice
like
as well.
I hope it isn't.
She went up Coronation Street. In the study, the old man told Elvira that he was the ancestor she had been thinking of in her dreams, and that he wanted her to have what was rightly hers. Firstly, though, I want to introduce myself. My name is King Gustav of Transylvania.
Of course it is.
The king went on to tell the rather bemused Elvira that he owned a beautiful castle in the countryside, which had not been passed down through the family, as his one and only heiress, Lady Plain Jane, had never married. This was due to her rather ordinary dowdy looks, and so when she died, the castle became vacant, apart from a few interesting inhabitants, that is. The king went on to say that if she had the stamina and could show him what she was made of, he would hand the castle down to her and her future generations. If she could find a suitable husband, of course, who was willing to share her assets. Hey! King Gustav showed her 2 globes, which stood throbbing in the gloomy light.
Okay.
This was where her challenge was to start. The choice was hers. The globes represented 2 worlds that the king had inhabited in past lives. One was frozen Arctic Earth, while the other was the complete opposite, an underworld of fire. Both of these hostile environments have to be conquered before Elvira can enter the castle, find the king, and claim her throne. And you guessed it, be crowned Queen Elvira of Transylvania. Not a bad title for such a mysterious lady, huh? So without any more delay, let's help Elvira get what's rightly hers. Yeah, there you go. Okay. So the game is a multi-load of sorts, with the 2 worlds being completely separate loads. Game. Okay. I played both the cartridge version, which allowed me to access either the 2 levels at will, but you can do that actually even in the disc version, and the disc version, which had the fire world first, I think. Actually, no, I think you can play them both in a direction. You just pick the globe. Anyway, the game starts with a language selection before loading a decent-looking title screen with an image of Elvira and a solid and atmospheric piece of music by Adam Gilmour. Good tune, this. Good bit of music. Following that, we get some loading, another nice screen showing the 2 orbs, as mentioned in the story, and the same decent music. It really is very good. And some scrolling credits. Hopes are high at this point, as this intro stuff bodes well with good visuals, nice music.
Aye.
Anyway, we press fire. If you just press fire anywhere but on the globes, it just allows us to look at the high scores. This is against a nicely drawn brick wall, or you can move the arrow around, which is over there, to either globe to select the fire or the ice level. I'm not sure if it matters which you pick first. I don't really know.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think it does. You just pick whichever you want. Once you pick that, you can either press 1, 2, or 3 for easy, medium, or hard. If it matters, if it matters. I'm not sure if it matters. I don't know. The game starts to load in at this point. We get some loading. Another nice image of the world you're about to enter on the disc version, this is. Didn't get it on the cartridge version, which is quite nice. And some more good music. And seriously, at this point, I was starting to think the 40% must have been a wrong score. I was thinking, this is actually all right.
Yeah.
At this point, press fire again for more loading. And then once done, you press space to start the game. Why space? Why not fire like all the times before?
We don't know, and we never will.
It's just stupid, isn't it? Why do they get these simple things wrong?
Who knows?
You press fire all the way through to this point, and it says press space. Like, okay.
Stupid.
Anyway, doing so, though, makes the game appear. The game window takes up most of the top of the screen. The UI is at the bottom, showing your score, number of lives, an empty black square, and your health. So essentially, this is a multi-directional run-and-gun platformer, I suppose.
Yeah.
Elvira herself's in the middle of the screen, and strangely, you're facing to the left to start with. Normally starts to the right, don't you? It was a weird, that one. There's actually an arrow pointing that way as well. Controls are simple enough, with left and right to walk, up and diagonals to jump, down to crouch, fire to throw knives, I think it is, or whatever weapon you have.
Weapon you've got, yeah.
Yeah. So you have to basically, you just have to wander the world for some reason, finding spells and perhaps a trader. There's supposed to be a trader in this in order to accomplish something. Because you see, even though I read the manual, I've read that story, so I know kind of what my quest is, which is go into these. But doesn't actually say, does he?
No.
King went on said that show him what she was made of. He would hand the castle to her. Just pick from 2 worlds that where he'd inhabited.
And do stuff.
Yeah, they've got to be conquered. Doesn't say how or what or. So I read the cover, I read the manual. No. I even read the back of the box. Don't tell you what you need to do. For example, it says this about the trader. Trader. The ancient trader will be encountered in each of the 3 worlds. 3.
Unless they mean the castle. I never got to the castle unless there is a castle.
Well, no, but there's no mention of a castle up to this point.
No. It's a bit stupid.
So the trader has the ability to trade a spell that you've collected for one that he has in his collection, and he invites you to visit him as many times as you wish in your search to have the right spell for future use. The trader can also be asked for information. And then in brackets it says, not on the C64, though. Not C64.
So you can't. Chestnut.
Yeah. To help you solve the quest. You must, however, decide how much you're prepared to spend and how much information. Once you've completed your trading, select exit. On the C64, you must be holding a spell before entry to the trader is allowed. The trader will show you 4 spells which you can trade with from him. Type 1, 2, 3, or 4 according to which spell you require. In this version, runes are collected to increase your score and give extra lives, whereby Fireworld, 10 runes, 10 rune stones equals 1 life. Ice World, 1 rune stones equals 1 life. And the Castle World, 2 rune stones equals 1 life. It's like, what's all this mean? There's no explanation for any of this. So the spells to collect. These spells are listed in the manual. They are Shield, Fire Resistance, First Aid, Featherfall, World Walk, Teleport, Ice Blast, Fireball, and Lightning. The only one to note here is the World Walk spell, which is used to progress to the next world in your quest. I don't know how you use it. I don't know if you have to collect something and do something first before you use it. I have no idea. There are also weapons to collect, such as daggers, throwing stars, and a torch, and even food to replenish health. A treasure chest, and precious rune stones to buy things from the trader. None of this matters, though, because this is a game that is lacking in any kind of direction. Even the back of the box simply says, in this challenging game, Elvira will encounter some of the most strange and evil creatures ever seen, using magical spells and a vast armory of weapons to achieve your goal.
Yep.
Which are what? What is the goal? I know what the ultimate goal is. With the 3, when you're doing game design and you get those 3 things of, your immediate goal, your secondary goal, and then your tertiary goal, the long-term goal. Yep. We've got a long-term goal, but we don't have 1 and 2. No. We don't have an immediate goal, and we don't have a secondary goal, which is kind of complete the level. We don't know how to do that. We don't know what it is. Nope. So this game is lacking direction of what the hell am I supposed to be doing?
Yep.
It's a terminally dull, but the problem is, who cares? Really, this is a terminally dull and basic platform with archaic design flaws and a boring map to traverse. From a visual standpoint, it's very blocky. The floor is made out of character graphics with no attempt to smooth things off, and the various sprites that assail you also suffer from the same simplicity of design and blockiness. Your character Elvira is kind of recognizable, I guess, but having her wander about platforms and jump up and down and throw daggers, it doesn't seem to fit the character in the slightest. No. I'm not sure that's an Elvira type thing.
No.
None of this works together, so everything feels disjointed and unfinished and pointless. You've no idea what you're doing as you traverse the hundreds of screens in search of pointless spells and a trader that does very little. That platform is dull, controls are clunky and unresponsive. The screen follows Elvira, keeping her central as well. This commits the cardinal sin of platformers of having you make leaps of faith time and time and time again.
Yep.
And very often you'll end up in a long vertical shaft, meaning death when you hit the bottom, or straight into a fire pit, which you can't get out of.
Yeah.
So you have to wait for your health to drain before dying and be respawned back where you were.
Yeah.
I might forgive all that, right? If the actual movement and combat was enjoyable, but it's not. You throw your knives like the axes in Ghost and Goblins in an arc, and no one wanted the axes in Ghost and Goblins, and no one wants that here. No, it was the you go, axes, jump over them. No one wanted that. Enemies float about randomly, just moving around. Some of them walk towards you. It takes too many hits to kill them, so you'll take damage. You'll be dead quite quickly. You'll start with 8 lives. That's always a clue. Strange number. But you'll see why in about 2 minutes in, you'll have lost loads of them because you'll have fell into a pit and burnt or frozen or just down a massive, hole.
Yep.
To cap it all off, this sits in the same genre, really, as Turrican and Turrican 2.
It does, yeah.
Run and big, open, platformy level, run, gun, explore. It's the same price pretty much. If you're going to try and play in that space, you need to bring more to the party than a pale, blocky facsimile of Elvira's assets. This is a bad game. It reminds me of games my students make in their first attempts at platformers.
Yes, exactly the same thing.
It's like, just aimless wandering, leaps of faith, no real direction or attempt to inspire the player to continue. And, that's good. That's their first game. I don't knock them for it because they're just learning the ropes. This is a produced game by design professionals at this point. This is boring. It's boring, vapid, and ultimately dreary and ploddy experience that barely deserves the 40% it gained. Even with the 2, or is it 3 worlds, it doesn't hold up, as the Ice World is just the same boring design issues as the Fire one. Maybe they stood up better on the 16-bit machines. On the C64, it's a snooze fest on every level, despite the assets that are not particularly on display in blocky form. This is crap. It's boring, and it's badly designed, and it's aimless wandering. Didn't like it. What about you?
No, same exact thoughts. It felt weird, and the controls were sluggish. When you were jumping, it felt laboured. And that's probably because she's got that dress that's hanging off her a bit. The actual character of Elvira, okay, maybe that's the most passable thing. Everything else is complete rubbish. And then you've got all the stupid traps and falls and pointless wandering. I was just wandering around thinking, what am I doing?
Yep.
So at what point did someone go, right, so Elvira wanders around and then there's just a look from the guy go, what do you mean and?
That's it.
That is it. That's it. That's. But the triptychs are 11 feet high. It's very much a Stonehenge conversation going on here. So I didn't enjoy anything about it. I felt exactly like you that this was in a playable game space in territory that it had no place being in. It was more of a turricant than a turrican.
Very good. Very good.
Just wandering around in boring Graphicsville, falling into fires a lot. That was my experience of the game. It was as much fun as that sounds, with all the dressing and stuff at the beginning. Classic C64. Make it look okay till you get to the game. How many times have we come across that? So not very good. I wouldn't have given it 40%. This is 20%, and that's 10% for each boob. But other than that, rubbish. Rubbish.
Yeah, it's really not very. I was like, oh God, what is this crap?
No, it's rubbish. It's just, it wasn't about anything. I'm like, just wander around, do stuff. It's Elvira, I'm like, well, yeah, right, I get that, but so what?
Yeah, there's no sort of interesting level design. It's just endless, dreary wandering.
And there was something a little bit depressing about Elvira's sprite animation when you turn around to face the other way and she goes straight face towards you. They just kind of painted in this weird 8-bit cleavage in Commodore medium res. It's not the friendliest to that. So it was just like this deformed hunch front thing was like, oh, poor Elvira. She deserved better than that.
She does. She does. Like I said, I presume that this was like a port from the 16-bit games. Maybe it fared better on them. It's supposedly got quite good reviews on them. But if it's the same design, if it's the same level design and world design, then crap there too, because that's the main issue with it. It's
probably got speech and stuff like that as well because the other one didn't it? The other one had sort of more sound bites and it had more Elvira in it again. So I don't know. Yeah, they haven't learned any of the lessons, have they? Here. And again, just to the final note, really, and the final nail in Elvira's coffin, which she probably would enjoy, is that nobody was giving a shit about Elvira, really, at this point in the UK anyway. So,
no.
Never really had a lot of traction in the UK. It's more an American thing, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Well, like I said, I think there still is another Elvira game to come at some point. I think we may get it. I don't know. We'll see if that is any better, but that one is another dreadful Elvira game. And that's it for this part. Told you, short week probably. The hangover week from episode 200. That's what it is. We're going to go away. We're going to take a quick break. We come back. We will be looking at the films, what was going on in January 1992. So please do stick with us.
The novel Escape from the Commodore 64 by David Hearn is out now. Crash landing on a green planet full of vector graphics, can Sarah find a way to escape for real? Or is she stranded on a planet full of sun, sea, and chippy tea forever? Imagine finding yourself in a cinematic karate game, having to rescue a princess, or remain stuck under the run-stop key forever. What about finding yourself on a space freighter full of robots? Could you clear the decks? If you were transported back to a Wild West town, having to round up outlaws, could you survive until sunset? What if you were a wizard with a cat who must colour worlds? Could you beat the game, or would a virtual guitar solo announce your demise? Sarah might just be another visitor, but she doesn't want to stay a while, never mind forever. Available from Amazon and all good online retailers, discover if there's a way out in Escape from the Commodore 64. Visit davidhearnwriter.com to find out more.
And we're back. We've got films to look at. We've got quite a few films. There was January 1992. Quite a lot of films came out. Yeah. I don't think many of these made it to Grimsby.
No.
But certainly some of them didn't. But on 3rd of January, well, they might have made it quite a bit later at the Whitgift.
Yeah.
I think that's actually where I saw this, I think.
Same.
So this 3rd of January, there was Delicatessen,
Aye.
which is quite an interesting film, I think.
Yeah, visually very interesting, wasn't it? It was certainly it had quite a unique look and feel to it, didn't it? I remember the trailer being quite unique as well, and it just it stuck out a bit. It was from some brand new directors that, well, at least new to the popular conscious, wasn't it? They went on to do another film which was pretty good in the same sort of style. Is it The Children of Lost City or something like that? Was it called? Or something like that?
Yeah. The Marc Caro and Jean-Pierre Jeunet.
Yeah, and I always thought it looked pretty good, this. I hadn't watched it in ages, but I do remember being some particularly fun scenes in it. But looking at the couple of clips on YouTube, the famous one where she's cleaning the dust out of somebody having sex upstairs in her house, and they're on sex on the bed, and the bed springs are going, and someone's rocking backwards on a chair, and someone's patting the dust off
in a rug, aren't they?
Just in a rug, yeah. And then obviously as he speeds up, then they all speed up, and that was in the trailer as well. I just remember that having quite a good visual style to it and quite nice looking, influenced by the likes of Raimi, I think, and maybe even the Coen brothers to some extent, or maybe the influences mutually split around. I don't know. I always remember it. I remember it being quite good. I don't remember why, other than visually, but I don't remember much about the story or anything like that. So, but I do remember thinking, it was worth seeing at the time. I remember.
And it's like I've got a sort of feeling that it's like a sort of Sweeney Todd one.
Yeah, I think
he's killing people and feeding it to the tenants, isn't he?
I would like to say yes, but I genuinely, and I didn't look at the plot on IMDb. It does ring a bell like that, but what it's all about and why there's somebody living there and what that means, I don't know. I couldn't remember. I might have to go and watch it again because the later films aren't as good as they were in the first couple. So,
well, Jeunet, he went on to do Alien Resurrection, and Amelie.
Yeah, well, that isn't so bad, actually.
Amelie's great. I watched Amelie again the other week, actually. I actually watched that. Such a great little film that is. And I also saw that he did the music video for Jean-Michel Jarre's Zuluk.
Yeah, it would make sense to that. I don't remember what the video was like, but...
Oh, I have no idea what the video was like. It was like someone patting a rug to the tune of Zuluk.
Yeah, because Zuluk's like that. It depends which bit of Zuluk it was, I suppose, but I suppose it was I
presume it's the poppy bit.
The Captain Blood bit. That bit.
Well... Coming from the guy who made Delicatessen and Amelie, it could very well be. So who knows?
Yeah, so that bit.
But Alien Resurrection's got it's not a great Alien film, but it's got moments in it that are quite stylish. You can see it's got the same guy in it who's he is in Delicatessen, isn't he? And Amelie, the guy with the sort of scrunched up face.
Yeah, it's that guy, and it's also got the guy that played the big dude, isn't it? What's his name? He's in Children of Men as well, and not Children of Men. What am I talking about? The Children of Lost City, and he's also in Blade 2, and can't remember his name. Plays Hellboy. That guy, he's in it as well.
Oh yeah, Ron Perlman.
Yeah, Ron Perlman. He plays Reinhardt, doesn't he, in Blade 2? Yeah. Stupid character.
But
he's in it as well. Yeah, it's
Alien Resurrection.
You reminded me of that horrible, stupid scene. I hate that film for that, where it goes all David. Yeah, that bit. Yeah, where it goes into David Attenborough at the end. There he is, the alien in it. Oh, I hate it. I hate it so much. It makes me angry thinking about it.
There's a great bit in Alien Resurrection now, and I do like the bit where the aliens, there's three of them in a room, and they kill one of them to burn a hole out. They smash one to bits to get the acid blood out to burn a hole in the floor so they can escape. That's a really, really good idea. And
this because one of them hasn't got the use of his legs in it or something, has he? So he has to be carried around. It's quite that idea. Very gamey, actually. If I think back, there's almost video game sort of characteristics to that, where you're carrying somebody around like that.
Where the swimming is quite good as well, the bit underwater.
That's the only bit I really like in it.
Yeah, some nice sequences in it. It just doesn't hang together very well as an Alien film.
No, and then you got that stupid ending with the white alien and the smooth head. We don't talk about that. And the human teeth.
Yeah, it's very.
To be fair, it makes an appearance again later, doesn't it? Was it Prometheus or the other one that came after Prometheus, whatever that was called?
Covenant.
Don't even get me. Covenant. Don't even get me. Although I do like parts of that as well, but just go and watch the TV show.
Yeah, I can highly recommend Alien Earth. I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Just go and watch that.
Yeah, it's way better. That episode where they're on the ship is like the best Alien film made in years.
Yes, it is. It is really good.
I thought, really good.
It is.
If you didn't fancy weird French stuff on 3rd of January, you could have gone seen weird American stuff with Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
I like that film quite a lot.
I love that film. It's great. It's very funny. It's a real step up from the first one.
Yeah, it is.
The first one is really kooky and of its time, but the second one is it's visually inventive. It's really referential, but in a really good way. There's loads of good moments in it. quite. It just takes it in a really unusual direction, and has some really great, memorable moments in it. Like everyone remembers the games with death.
Yeah, Twister,
battleships and stuff. You sank my battleship.
Brilliant casting as well, of course.
Yeah, Bill Sadler.
Yeah, such a good. It's such a good fun film made in the right. I think it's like you said. It's very rare that the sequel is better than the original, but in that instance, it's the one where you can genuinely say it is better. Yeah, and I think just because I think they're more confident in the comedy of the roles. They sort of play it as dopey teenagers in the first movie, which is fine. But in the second one, there's a little bit more to them because there's the robot versions of them, which as well. And you've got you've got classic British thespian actor as the bad guy, and that's what I mean. And the dialogue and the script is funnier. It's tighter. It's just the screws are a bit tighter. The last act of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is the best part of that film, where it's quite funny in there, where they're going through time and they're getting everybody. Yeah. This is kind of an acceleration of that bit of the film made into a more full length with good tonality in it. And there's some genuinely funny moments. And who doesn't like an alien called Station and anything? So, good. It's really good fun. I watched it not long ago. In fact, I watched them all, including the most recent one, which was a bit weird. But Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, hands down, was the best of them all. It properly gave me chuckles in all the usual places. So good stuff.
And eminently quotable. To this day, I still use lines from it.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
not a lot of people get. I hate the robot versions of.
Yeah, exactly. Denomalous is a great character in that.
Yeah,
just because he is the B-row man, isn't it? He's the guy that did the voice of the B-row in the UK. So you listen to the little guy who advertised flour, essentially.
Denomalous.
Yeah, it's just honestly, he's such a great choice for that, and he really gets into it as well, which really helps because it sells it a bit. He could have been super hammy. It's not. He plays it quite serious in his own way. But in a good way. Yeah. But I love the robot versions of them absolutely kill me. So
that's what I mean. That's what upsets the comedy Bill and Ted against the he's just trying to be dead serious and they're like I said, you made us, dude.
Yeah.
It's like, oh God.
Yeah, and they're really happy about everything. That kills me because it's quite clever. And I know we're going on about it, but it's quite clever because there's Bill and Ted who are genuinely happy characters, and then there's the robot versions of them that are also happy but doing really evil stuff, but happy about it. And it's really funny to watch them be that way as well. They're totally going to throw him off a cliff and stuff like that. It's really good. We're totally going to kill you now.
Yeah, and as well, the ending when we talked about God gave rock and roll to you. That's it. It's hammy and over the top that bit of music, but that bit of music at that bit of the film, it's fantastic. It's such a great moment when they play it. Fantastic stuff. But good sound. Yeah, it's a good soundtrack as well, isn't it? Lots of. I think Big Jim Martin's in it as well from Faith in the Ball. He pops.
Yeah, it's got that. Obviously, it's got Steve Vai doing all the little widdly diddlies and all that. But it's actually got a really good soundtrack. Funnily enough, and there's an interesting side note, just final note from me on it. When I used to work at Blockbuster Video, you used to do blocks of 4-hour shifts, and sometimes you'd be on a shift for maybe 4 to 8 hours. It could be longer than that, depending if Rick ever showed up for work. So you could be there for hours. But sometimes I'd put movies on because we could play movies in the store as long as they were PG, which this was. But you could put movies on. And sometimes I'd put this on because in the background, this is a good movie to have on because it's quite catchy. There's quite songs, but you could almost gauge how long you'd been at work by listening to certain parts. So you knew how long you'd been at roughly work, about an hour and a half, or when the film was coming to an end. Yeah. And sometimes that's because the shifts can feel quite endless at times and quite tragic. But sometimes that film really helps you get through the longer shifts. It did at Blockbuster, and everybody kind of liked it, so it was always good fun to have on in the background.
Good film, really good.
Yeah.
If you didn't fancy either of those two, though, you could have gone seen V.I. Wachowski.
It's always on the shelves at Blockbuster, and it was always the bridesmaid and never a bride.
Just a big VI, wasn't it? A big VI, and then with
Kathleen Turner in it. She was kind of hot property because of a couple of films she'd been in where she was a bit sleazy. So,
she was also the voice of Jessica Rabbit, wasn't she?
She was the voice of Jessica Rabbit, yeah. She's actually quite a good actress, Kathleen Turner, all said and done. And I don't think any of these films of this type were really doing her acting much justice because she's in The Man with Two Brains, and not only is she really hot in that, she's also exceptionally funny in it as well.
Yeah, she's good in that, yeah. I think I watched this on video. I don't remember anything notable. It doesn't stick out in my mind, but I probably did watch it one day. It's just a boring crime film.
Yeah.
10th of January, there was The Bridge.
Ugh, God, this sounds dreary, doesn't it?
When Isabel Hetherington and her 3 young daughters take up their seaside residence in the hot summer of 1887, life seems idyllic. But the arrival of Philip Wilson Steer, always a Wilson, for his annual painting visit, launches a chain of events that will change their lives forever.
Does it, though?
Says it does. Who am I to argue?
An annual painting visit does not sound like it's going to launch a devastating chain of events, like a butterfly effect, where around the world.
You don't know in the Victorian times. In the Victorian times, painting was a highly erotically charged thing.
Do you know what, though, right? If you look at that paragraph you've just read out, you can take out almost all the words and just use the keywords, and it's the same. So if I'd said to you, Isabel Hetherington, seaside residence, and idyllic, and then painting, you'd be like, I get the idea of that film.
I bet it's Victorian.
I bet it's Victorian and stuffy and full of straw hats.
Absolutely. I bet there's some saucy Victorian shenanigans, though. Many shots of ankles.
Oh, I'm getting hot under my collar. All the ankles on display. Oh.
Yeah. No piffling bears, though, hopefully. If you didn't fancy that, because it was a bit too saucy, you could have gone and seen Year of the Gun.
Okay.
In 1978, a journalist and a photojournalist, both young Americans, had a close encounter with Red Brigade terrorists in Rome. The John Frankenheimer film. It stars Sharon Stone and Andrew McCarthy, this.
Okay.
I thought this was something else, though. When I looked at Year of the Gun, I thought, that was all right, actually. Turns out I was thinking of Way of the Gun with Ryan Philippe and Benicio del Toro, which came out years later.
It ain't that.
No, it isn't. I think this is another film of the Brat Packers trying to do other stuff and not really, people they were like, you were good in that Brat Pack stuff. Just Andrew McCarthy.
What was John Frankenheimer more famous for movie-wise? He's got some big ones under his belt, hasn't he? Frankenheimer movies?
He's got 2 large globes.
Shiny globes.
Frankenheimer. Yes, he has done. He's worked for ages. He did Black Sunday, French Connection 2.
Oh, okay.
Did he do French Connection? I don't know if he did. No.
Surely the French Reconnection would have been the name, really.
Black Sunday, he did Prophecy, Holcraft Covenant, the Fourth World Year of the Gun, did an episode of Tales from the Crypt, Island of Dr. Moreau.
Oh, God. Okay, maybe not then.
Ronin, he did Ronin.
No, Ronin wasn't so bad.
Ronin's good, yeah.
I recognise his name.
I don't think he's alive. Oh, he died in 2002, so.
Why don't they just put him in like an electric, like on a table in an old castle, put electric from a kite into his body, because like all good Frankenheimers, he'd have come back to life with an enormous Schwanstucker.
True. Oof.
Go to see his uncle, Victor von Frankenheimer.
He was directing for 48 years, 40 odd years. 1954 was his first thing he directed.
That's crazy. I mean, that's crazy good.
Yeah. He also did an episode of the DuPont Show of the Month.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, we've all been there.
We have all been there. We'll direct to him. I haven't watched this film, though, and I probably never will.
No.
If you didn't fancy either of those, there was Liebestraum.
Okay.
Graham, Liebestraum.
Why it's cracking me up. It's that it's one of our patrons said that your Dutch sounded like a German. So
it's not Dutch, is it, Liebestraum?
No, because no, it's not. It's German. But I think it's German. I think because in the last episode, the last episode, so episode 199, I guess. They said that there was you were quoting something about Stratego being Dutch, and you were reading Dutch names, but it sounded like you were an angry Austrian German. But now you're doing German. I wonder if you sound like an angry Dutch.
Liebestraum. Don't know.
Liebestraum must be something to do with love, is it? Liebe? I don't know.
It's a Mike Figgis film, as you say.
Good old Mike Figgis. You shall have a Figgis on, a little Figgis. I ain't going to watch it, though, because it won't be a happy ending with a Figgis attached to it, will it?
Nah, I don't know. I won't know if it's got a happy ending, because I'm never going to watch it. Never.
No, that's fair.
Yeah. There was also Mercy LaVie.
Okay, Mercy LaVie.
A lonely teenage girl studying her exams meets a homeless woman and befriends with her. Who writes these?
Not anyone creditable. It's just rudy things.
Yeah, ankles at the very least.
Just stop saying the word ankles. Where's my fan?
17th of January, there was Frankie and Johnny.
Yeah, I actually thought, is this okay? And then I read your blurb that you'd written. I was like, actually, you're dead right about that.
Yeah, he says, Johnny has just been released from prison and gets a job in a cafe beside waitress Frankie. Frankie's a bit of a loner, but Johnny's determined their romance will blossom. Gary Marshall directs Al Pacino and Michelle Pfeiffer. This is another film about an older man seducing a younger star. Pacino's 16 years older than Pfeiffer. It's a typical Hollywood thing, isn't it, where they get these old, young women, older men.
Yeah.
And I mean, Pfeiffer's 32 at the time. She's not a young girl. She's a woman.
She's younger, though.
She's 16 years younger. And I suppose at 48 and 32, maybe. But this is just a typical sort of Hollywood trope, innit, of doing this kind of shit.
Well, yeah. I mean, to be fair, the old Dusty Moore made a career out of it, didn't he? He was 950.
Yeah, absolutely. He was held together by a Henry the Hoover bag. You couldn't undo it.
Held together by sheer determination. But yeah.
He was held together by a guitar riff.
Exactly. One sneeze and he had to recompile himself for days. Just blew him all over the room.
So it was the really slowest version of Terminator 2 you've ever seen.
I'd love to see a version of the Terminator. Terminator 2 with Roger Moore as the T36. He's just the T36. Where it's just
T78.
Yeah, he hits it. It shatters to like dust everywhere, and it's just like that's the end of the film because it's just periodically you cut back to it and it moved a little bit. So, it's going to be here a while. Yeah, we shouldn't have made those original batch of Terminators out of dust.
No, that was a bad idea. No, very bad idea. But I don't remember this being a particularly good film or anything. So
no.
If you didn't fancy that, there was Freddy's Dead. The Final Nightmare.
Not very good. At this point, they're getting really desperate, aren't they?
Yeah. Dream-haunting Freddy Krueger returns once again to prowl the nightmares of Springwood's last surviving teenager and of a woman whose personal connection to Krueger may mean his doom. As a betting man, I bet it didn't.
No, of course it didn't, because there's at least another 900 films after that, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Freddy's Dead, we didn't mean it. Freddy's Dead, no, he isn't. This was directed by, this is the only interesting thing I thought about it. It was directed by Rachel Talalay, which is a good name. Talalay.
Talalay.
Talalay. Named after the Sound of Music, perhaps. She went on to direct. Can you do the fandango? Talaleo. Don't say it 3 times, she'll appear. She went on to direct episodes of recently, actually, of Doctor Who and quite a lot of TV stuff, quite a lot of famous TV stuff.
Okay.
So there you go.
Good to see still working.
Yeah, you can't stop her. You can't stop her working, can you? You can't stop working. Ta-la-la-la-la-la. I tell her, she's doing quite well.
Yeah, she's always replacing the A key on a keyboard though, because it's run out through overuse.
She knackers it, yeah.
If you didn't fancy that, there was Mississippi Masala.
Okay.
Never heard of it. An ethnic Indian family is expelled from Idi Amin's Uganda in 1972 and lives in Mississippi. 17 years later, the dad sues Uganda to get his property back. The grown daughter falls in love with a black man. Is these 2 different films?
I don't know. This didn't make it to the shores of Grimsby, this one, I'm afraid.
No, it did not. There was also Little Man Tate.
There was?
A single mother raised a child prodigy on her own, struggling to give him every opportunity he needs to express his gift. This was directed, as you noted, by Jodie Foster. I seem to remember this getting quite a lot of critical praise at the time.
Yeah,
I
think you're right.
Talking about this. It wasn't from me, though. I was probably watching Freddy's Dead.
Yeah, in all fairness, yeah. I think it was the first film. No, first film that she directed. Not the first thing she directed, though. I noted that she had an episode of Tales from the Dark Side under her belt, which surprised me. In an episode called Do Not Open This Box. So there you go. Who would have known that?
Is that like the early version of Seven?
It could be, couldn't it? Jodie Foster presents. I don't know. It just surprised me that she was directing so early on. I thought, like, there you go. TV-wise, I mean.
Good to see her working.
Yeah. Can't stop her working, can you?
Foster.
Oh dear.
If you didn't fancy any of those, there was The Boyfriend School, and my word, this is a film I'd never heard of.
No.
Cartoonist Gus has survived cancer treatment, and now his romance novelist sister tries to find him a woman and guide him. Will they succeed? This starred Steve Guttenberg, Kyle MacLachlan, Shelley Long, and also Jamie Gertz.
Okay, fair enough.
And as you've rightly noted, Steve Guttenberg's hair and boots, like, what is going on?
Inexplicable. He's got like a massive mullet, which is out of place in the 90s, really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's clearly a wig. I mean, that is not his hair.
No, because in the film, he's got no hair. That's because he's just survived cancer, which is not it doesn't seem a particularly happy scenario, this, for a light rom-com.
I don't get it. And also, he's... I noticed he's... On that poster you've put there, which is obviously for the US, sort of an alternative name of it, but he's been entalloned because he isn't that tall. So you can see that they've stretched his legs. They've made him, because his legs are the wrong length. So so his thighs are too long for his feet. His feet are too short for his boot. He's all wrong. He's been stretched beyond all reality.
He really has. What's Kyle MacLachlan and Shelley Long doing in the background on that post, just looking up from behind a line?
It doesn't mean anything, does it? I don't think they knew what to do with it, but it is not good fashion wise.
It's not good. Just go look at this on IMDb.
Yep. Watch the trailer. That's all you need to do. It's so bad.
Let's never speak of it again.
No.
If you didn't fancy that, there was Coupe de Ville. Three bickering brothers who don't get along reluctantly go on a cross-country road trip together to deliver a car in time for their mother's birthday. Yeah. They had a lovely time.
Everything went well.
Everything was great. 24th of Jan. All right. Big one this day was JFK.
Aye.
Came out. I didn't see this at the cinema. I remember watching this one afternoon on video and just being utterly, totally blown away by this film. Like in the way that sort of a film like this, I just I thought, it's a story about JFK. It sounds quite interesting, but I just wasn't expecting this film. I don't know. There was just something about it, but it made me want to be an editor at the time because I was like, God, Lord, the editing of this film. And it influenced my reading for about 3 years, where I read loads of books that covered the theories and conspiracies around JFK's death. So I read Crossfire, I read the Jim Garrison's book, and I read a couple of others as well. These were big, thick tomes that I got out of the library. I was reading them still in St. Helens by the time I went there.
Wow.
And I just read them cover to cover, like all the theories and the sort of and I got dead into it. It influenced one of my projects at college.
Wow.
It was a crap project. I didn't do very well, but it influenced that. I mean, this film is in itself incredibly well put together, and I think it's the most coherent and successful of Stone's, like, I call them montage films, where sort of bits happening, stuff's happening over, layers of stuff just going on all over the place, or parts that have no relevance to each other, or stuff going, and then it kind of comes together at the end. And I think it's a really, really well put together film. There's so many great sequences in this. The opening to this film with the drum beat, the military drum beat, and the Martin Sheen voiceover. Obviously using Martin Sheen because he played Kennedy in the series Kennedy as well, which is a good touch and good use of that sort of recognizable voice. And that whole mix of real footage with dramatized footage.
Yep.
It's just so well put together. Now, it's got a great central performance. Costner's amazing in this. It's my favorite performance of his. I think he's amazing in this film. The ensemble cast, you got Joe Pesci. There's just loads of people in this all over the place, and they're all incredible. The cameo from Donald Sutherland, that whole sequence is just fantastic. The extended version adds another 15 minutes, and unlike a lot of extended version, is actually the version to watch these days. Now, obviously, it's got its critics, and we know a lot of the theories have been debunked. Whatever you believe about, whatever, it's still a powerful piece of filmmaking, and a great soundtrack from John Williams as well. I've watched this quite a lot because it's just I could just watch this and just lose myself for 3 hours, and I'm and it's just I don't know, this is one of those films which it's certainly in my top 5 films of all time, despite some of its issues and problems that I'm not going to go into here. But I love JFK. I think it's amazing.
You always have, though. I mean, it was quite clear this struck a chord with you at the time. I remember it quite distinctly. But then again, you were very keen on editing, and like you say, this is really an editor's choice, isn't it? Did it win Academy Awards for things like that? I imagine it probably would have.
Quite possibly, yeah. I've never looked into it.
Soundtrack's amazing. Funny enough, I rewatched it recently because there was a new, not remaster, but a 4K print of it came out, the full version, like you say, with the extra bits. And it's just as good now as it is then. It's amazing how it manages to create such a compelling argument for what is essentially complete conspiracy, to the point when you almost find yourself totally falling into a believable trap, thinking, oh my God, it really was a conspiracy. And, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I'm not here to debate that, but it's presented in such a deadpan, excellent, serious way with really great performances that you'll find yourself afterwards you're hard pushed to walk away from that, not thinking some of that has got some legs. You can't help it. And that's the power of it, isn't it? I think what it does is it makes you ask questions of a lot of things, and principally because it's all built around, obviously with all the other stuff, but the footage, the famous Zapruder footage, it's kind of principally based around that, and then all of the other stuff that wraps around that. And I think it just creates a really compelling world of lots of things happening and lots of things connected together. That are they connected? Are they not? Are they real? Are they not? I think it just presents you with all the facts, a bit like Jim Garrison says, isn't it? It's over to you, and you have to kind of piece together. And that's a very clever thing to do. And that's 3 hours long. It doesn't feel like it when you watch it. It still grabs you by the throat, doesn't it? And it really doesn't let go of you, and you really are hooked into that film. And the tragedy, as I'm sure you share, really is that I never, not for you personally, but the tragedy, personal tragedy, I've never seen that at the cinema either. And that's one of those things. At some point, when they'll show it on a special, maybe one time I will get to do that. But,
yeah, I'd love to see the cinema.
I'd love to see. There's a few films that I didn't go and see. I regret not seeing them, and that's one of them in the cinema. So great film.
It is a great film. Still stands up today. Whatever you think. If you didn't fancy JFK, as we clearly didn't, you could have gone watch Dutch, also known as Driving Me Crazy.
Yeah, this was weird. This was more of a straight-to-video release in the UK. I don't think it got much of a cinema.
Probably just London or something cinemas. Like that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you mix... It's basically, if you mix one part of Planes, Trains and Automobiles with one part of Uncle Buck, you've got this. It's principally this. It felt like a film that was written and made for John Candy in an Uncle Buck style. Or you could almost call it Uncle Buck 2 in a different way. Right. Because the basic premise is there's a really angry kid who's at some kind of posh, like a prep school, a really posh school, in a classic, American posh school, younger kid. Yeah. And he's dating the young kid's mum. This guy, he's a rough around the edges. He's actually the owner of a very successful building company and stuff like that. But he's very rough around the edges and not at all like this woman's ex, who was a real poncy, stuck-up snob who has no time for his son. And right. It's that classic relationship dynamic. And then the idea is that this kid gets stuck and he needs to get picked up from school because this let-down father can't get him. So the character of Dutch, a.k.a. What's he called? Al Bundy, whatever his real name is. Ed O'Neill, isn't it? So that character then says, well, I volunteered, says, well, I'll go and get him then. But this kid hates him. Ed O'Neill's character goes to pick him up. He's never met him before. So it's like, obviously, fight that fire and ice. The kid hates him. He then has to drive him back. This kid is determined to ruin this guy's life because he's convinced that he's poor and he's a scumbag because he's so poor. Whereas this guy tries to educate the kid that he's, he might be rough on the edges, but he's actually a multimillionaire anyway. And he doesn't, it's not about money. And together they kind of form a quasi friendship that kind of works after some serious escapades and stuff like that. Yeah. That kind of road movie. But the tonality is kind of wrong. You can, when you watch it, I watched it recently, you can sort of see why it didn't work, because the comedy only really works for the funny bits, obviously. But the trouble is, the kid is so unlikable and he's so awful that you'd never, that just the dynamic doesn't work. And so when he does these horrible things to Ed O'Neill's character, it doesn't quite work, but it contains one of my favorite lines in it, which is a line I use to this day, which is where this kid's being a real snooty kid about what he eats and what he doesn't eat. And he takes him to like a roadside cafe, which is really like a greasy spoon. The kid point blank refuses. And then he watches him eat all of his like greasy food and greasy bacon. And when he comes out, he sort of burps right in his face and he goes, "Nothing burps better than bacon," which is a line I use to this day. So it's just, but there's little moments like that in it. Other than that, there's a little bit of misfire.
You could certainly see that being John Candy having to go pick up one of the kids.
Yeah, absolutely. It's exactly that.
From Uncle Buck or something like that.
I think, is it a John Hughes movie? Is it got, because it's very John Hughesy if it isn't.
I don't think it is. I'll have a look. Oh, it is. It's written by John Hughes.
Yeah, and you can tell, it's basically that. It's those two things I've mentioned. If you watch it with that in mind, it's exactly that. It's watchable. It's a bit like, there's a bit of Home Alone in there as well.
It sounds as well like there's a bit of Back to School in there as well.
Yes, there is. It's
the Rodney Dangerfield.
All of those things, just not all the good bits of those things, but the offset between Ed O'Neill's character, Dutch, who is played quite like Al Bundy, he does play it a bit like that, but quite funny, and the way he's trying to sort of get this kid to snap out of his I'm angry at my dad, I'm angry at the world, and I hate everything, which is a lot like the female character in Uncle Buck, the teenage character in that.
Yeah.
It's very much that dynamic, so you can almost see why it's Uncle Buck too. But if you take it in that spirit, it's got enough John Hughes-isms to get away with it, and it'll make you laugh. So I'd recommend it.
Yeah, I might give it a watch. I think I have seen it a few years back, but not quite sure. If you didn't fancy either of those two, good Lord, you could have gone and seen Rigoletto.
Oh.
The Duke lives the high life. The court jester taunts too well. Revenge has unintended consequences. Both times it is attempted. It's an intriguing poem. What's the film about?
So is it a King Crimson lyrics, I thought, as well?
Yeah.
So the court of the Crimson King, yeah. Rigoletto sounds like a type of ice cream, doesn't it? I'll have a cornetto and a Rigoletto, please.
Yeah.
It should have been, shouldn't it?
Slice of Viennetta.
Viennetta, Rigoletto and 2 cornettos. Oh, no.
A strawberry mivvy.
Just give me a mivvy. Break it. Oh, I love a strawberry mivvy. I do like a good mivvy.
If you didn't fancy any of them, you could have seen Blame It on the Bellboy. Stop thinking about mivvies. Several strangers converge in a hotel in Venice, Italy, where a bellboy's bad English sets them up to clash against each other in a hilarious case of mistaken identity.
Yeah, it's not hilarious.
No, I don't think so. I think I watched it at the time. I remember not particularly liking it. Although, reading that, what was that Tarantino film about? Was it 4 Rooms or something?
4 Rooms, yeah.
That sounds suspiciously familiar.
Yeah, there's echoes of that, actually, isn't there a little bit? I don't remember it being very funny, though, but the directors went on to do some good stuff. Brastoffy did, and Boy in the Striped Pajamas, which is, that's not one for the weak-eyed, that one.
No, it's not. No. Finally, 31st of January, there was the pleasure principle.
Watch her as she takes the pleasures from the serpent at once corrupted man.
Part relationship drama and part sex comedy. Follows a middle-aged man who loves women and sex and can't stop cheating, gets a divorce from his angry wife, but then cheats on his lovers. However, one of them decides to get even. I would put money on it. There's lots of ankles in this.
You keep saying the word ankles. I can't cope with it all. It's probably going to be one of those sort of, bed sheets with, nipples under the bed sheets kind of movie.
Let's see. Let me look at the cover. I reckon this got rented out.
Yeah, it would have done.
Blockbuster quite a lot.
Yeah, it would have been. The cover would have been stained, and the box would have been crusty to open.
So parts of the videotape would have been well worn.
There was never rewound. No, that one.
Certain parts.
Not fully. Yeah.
If you didn't fancy that, there was Double Impact.
Oh God, this film's so crap.
I mean, I want you can talk about this because I don't. It's what it is. It's Jean-Claude Van Damme. Was the tagline for this double the damage? I don't know, but I hope it is, because if it isn't, that's one of the greatest that you've ever come up with. I think that double the damage. I'm sure it was. I'm pretty sure it was.
It sounds like it should. It sounds like it probably was.
It should have.
I don't know a great deal about Double Impact. It was made at a time when a lot of these films were being made. On the back of Bloodsport and Kickboxer and a bunch of those. And then, Van Damme had good straight-to-video currency at certain points, and his movies were getting kind of bigger. Yeah. This is twin brothers are separated when their parents are murdered, but 25 years later, they reunite in order to avenge their parents' death. So most of these films involve the same kind of thing. In this one, he's playing both brothers, of course, so that was very difficult and challenging for him, I'm sure. He is actually quite a character, though, in many ways. And I haven't rewatched this one. I did recently rewatch Bloodsport, which was really crap. So I didn't hold out much hope for this one. But this was in the sort of when they started to compete with Steven Seagal, didn't he? Both of them started to get a few more of these out, and they started to up the ante. It was like the Aldi version of the battle between Schwarzenegger and Stallone. Yeah. This was like the little version, wasn't it, between Van Damme and he did come up with all sorts of Van Damme-like puns, didn't he?
Yeah.
And all the rest of it. But out of the two performers in their movies, because you can guarantee that at some point in that movie, one or both of those brothers will do the splits over something very painful. It's probably a candle or a staircase or barbed wire fence or something like that, where for no reason he just needs to do the splits. He did it a lot. But he was actually quite a good martial artist. I was watching a video about the different martial artists of that time, and the video was an interview with one of the guys who's principally one of the stunt actors in most of those films who they were fighting against. So every time you see someone getting their teeth kicked out by Van Damme, chances out it was this guy who was fighting him, because he was one of the kind of stalwarts of that. And he said that he would spar quite happily with Jean-Claude Van Damme. He was a capable martial artist, unlike Steven Seagal, who was not. Now, he is a trained Aikido master, and Aikido it's a martial art, but it's more of a martial art based principally around disarming people with swords or using swords. It's more of a samurai art, really, and it's not really designed for someone's going to run you and punch you in the face. If you put somebody who's an Aikido master in the ring in a UFC situation, they're going to get annihilated by anybody, because it's just not that kind of thing. And it looks good on screen, maybe, when he's touching someone on the nose and they leap and fly around, but Van Damme does at least kick and punch and do that stuff, and he does do that. So I'll give him a bit of credit there. He is a martial artist as opposed to a Steven Seagal, who now looks like a pumpkin, doesn't he? Looks like a man pumpkin.
He does.
Sorry, Steven. I don't mean to be rude, but
trick or treat for Halloween for him, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a mumpkin. It's a mankin.
Seagullkin. Looking at the poster of this, it just says Double Van Damme.
Yeah, but I think double the damage, I think, is brilliant. So
So it says twin brothers torn apart by violence. This doesn't make any sense as well, the layout of this. It says twin brothers torn apart by violence on a mission of revenge. One packs a punch, one packs a piece. Together they deliver. And then it says Jean-Claude Van Damme. Because they've got the layout wrong. Because then it should say they deliver double impact. But in between those two bits, it says Jean-Claude Van Damme, which should be at the top. Because otherwise it says they deliver Jean-Claude Van Damme. It's like, oh, hello, just here to deliver your Van Damme.
Yeah, I mean, people rented that because it was him, didn't they? And,
yeah, I know. So. There you go. Double the damage. I'm sure it was. Must have been.
Yep.
It's too good not to have been. Finally, if you didn't like those, the final film, there was Out of Life.
There was.
Sounds cheery. A French photographer is kidnapped and held hostage in a war-torn Beirut. Slowly but surely, his integrity and self-respect is broken.
Okay. January. What is wrong with people?
Well, don't know. They released Out of Life. That's it. That's your films. Some good stuff there. JFK, Dutch, Bill and Ted's.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, some okay stuff. Delicatessen. We're going to go away, take a quick break, come back. We still have 2 more games to get through. Budget titles, but don't let that put you off. We'll see you in a bit.
The novel Escape from the Commodore 64 by David Hearn is out now. Growing up in the 80s is a chore for Sarah, who feels misunderstood by her parents and badgered by Reese, her bothersome brother who incessantly prattles on about his treasured computer games. When Reese tells her one of the games tried to pull him inside the computer, she laughs off his fanciful fib. She waggles the joystick to disprove his fairy tale and is pulled into the computer. Now trapped in games she'd never had any interest in playing, how can she possibly beat them? With the help of feisty Nell, another trapped player, can Sarah find her way back home, or is it game over? An evil madman, a hostile planet, bloodthirsty robots, a never-ending throng of karate experts, and relentless digital soldiers will do their best to ensure Sarah never escapes. Available from Amazon and all good online retailers, find out if there's a way out of the beige bread bin of betrayal for Sarah in Escape from the Commodore 64.
And we're back. 2 more games. It's all S's this part. And it's overdue for our first of our budget pairing, Graham, with Sky High Stuntman. Tell us all about it.
If somebody was Sky High thinking about this at a certain point, $3.99, so it's budget game, obviously, as we said. 65% though. Okay, it's in an awkward cusp, isn't it? It's in an awkward part of the bell. Publisher was Codemasters. Good to know that they're still going. Yeah. Coded by Nick Taylor. He did Soccer 7 and First Past the Post.
Have we ever looked at them?
Yes, we have. Yes, we did. Yeah, they weren't great.
Okay.
Then Nick Taylor's got a bit of a odd pass when you look at his games history. So, but they're not necessarily the highlights, but they're just ones that caught my eye. The graphics are Jason Brasshill. He did Adidas Championship Football, if you remember that. He also did the title screen here, which is quite nice, actually. The musician is Lyndon Sharp. He did Wizard Willie. Good old Wizard Willie. What's it all about then? Well, it says in the blurb, as Super Stuntman, you are hired to shoot another mega action movie by the top director, Steven Spielberg.
Hey!
To get the scenes right, you must complete 4 death-defying stunts, each more terrifying than the last. Each stunt has a radical finale, and each presents a different challenge. But be careful, even this movie can only splash out so much on your equipment. If you crash too many times, then you're sacked. Use the power-ups to increase your firepower to phenomenal proportions. And then it explains the 4 scenes, which I'll come to. Now, the odd thing here is that I don't really feel like the instructions are really talking about the game that you play, because they make a point of saying this in the review in Zap, because they're not right. They're in kind of the wrong order, and it's not quite true. It says the objective is the game. It says, as the Sky High Stuntman, you must impress the director of the latest action movies. Use all your skill to dodge bullets, missiles, and lasers to produce the best action movie yet. At this point, your eyebrow should be going, okay, it's a bit weird. Fly through each level to the end and land your aircraft. Each level, but I thought it was a movie. After each level, you will proceed to the next movie. Okay. Collect the extra weaponry that you find on the way. Use it to wipe out the on-screen bad guys. Destroy as many of the enemies as you can to make the most of this movie. But use the smart bombs wisely. There are not many. So it just feels like they've taken some text and inserted the word movie at random into this, which pretty much explains the game. According to this version of the instructions, there's 4 scenes in the entire game, so there's 4 levels. Scene 1 is, in this one, it says, dodge the enemy in a vintage Supermarine Spitfire over war-torn Europe. That's not quite true of the C64 one.
Nope.
And then it says, scene 2, armed to the teeth in a full-spec military chopper over riot-ridden New York. Then scene 3, flying in a stolen Phantom, just blow the opposition away. And then scene 4, fight the Star War in a laser-blasting battle to the death. Something's gone wrong. Something's gone very, very wrong. Now, I cast my eye also over the Spectrum version, and the Spectrum version is principally the same. However, when it explains the scenes in the Spectrum version, they make more sense. So the rest of the stuff is the same, principally, the objective and everything else. But it says here, scene 1, dodge the enemy in a clapped-out biplane. Well, that's still wrong, but okay, we'll take that. But scene 2, trapped in a hot air balloon with only a shotgun as defense. Now, that's a bit more like the C64 one. Scene 3, flying in a stolen Phantom, just blow the opposition away. And then scene 4, armed to the teeth in a full-spec military chopper. All right, it's still not right at all. Something's gone wrong somewhere. Somebody couldn't decide what on earth this is, and there's a reason for that. So here we go again, Adrian, really. Another shoot 'em up, isn't it? This time vertical and positioned around some kind of stuntman narrative for no reason whatsoever.
Nope.
It's as loosely linked to movies as this is to cheese making. I'm not sure it worked very well in that regard either, because what you play seems so loosely linked to the whole stuntman thing, it may as well not be there. It's also alarmingly similar to another Codemasters game in tone of description, which was Super Stuntman, which was also a game that was set around a loosely linked movie set and stunts that you were linked to by process of doing stuff in a level. That was more driving, as I recall. Okay, anyway, so a nice loading screen with this. The loading screen is quite nicely done, drawn in the classic sort of Codemasters way. Quite nice, that. Colourful title screen as well. Okay music. Presentation-wise at this point, not too bad at all. Quite nice. It looks the part. Good budget stuff, okay. In-game, you're stepping back in time though, aren't you? The bottom of the screen is movie sort of film reel inspired UI-ish, which was similar to what we saw in the other Codemasters game in that respect. So you've got a score and your number of lives there, or takes, or whatever they are, scenes, I guess, but you've got that. You've got which level you're on indicated, and then some nice little sort of mini film scenes with like a sunset. There's a lot of sunsets in this episode, isn't there? I noticed that. Yeah. Okay, and there's that. That's the bottom. The main window is the game, and what looks like a very shoot construction kit type of deal rolls down screen with you. At least in the first level, which in the C64 is a helicopter, contrary to the biplane that's mentioned or the other things. And you move this around, slowly shooting at enemies and avoiding their homing bullets. Very mundane. The pace is slow. Clearly, this is not the most exciting movie in the world. Let me say that. No. The helicopter sequence in Rambo, the old game from 1986, is it? It was better than this.
Way better.
Just that little bit. There's 4 levels, like I said, and they all apparently involve completing death-defying stunts. I don't know when or where that happened or what they are, because that's not what I played. Level 1, as I've said, you're in a helicopter and you've got to fly up. That's principally it. Shoot 'em up. Avoid things, shoot things, move in relative silence, though. Not a lot happening on the screen. Very sparse sound effects. And at the end of level 1, well, you just land. Challenging that. I'm not sure what the super stunt was or the death-defying thing you had to do. You're like, right, land the helicopter. Here we go. Okay, that's the end of that. Not very exciting. Level 2 sees you in a hot air balloon in what must be the most pointless level 2 of all time. Take everything that was crap about level 1 and make it worse. So take you out of a helicopter and put you in a hot air balloon that you can't really control. It just floats around. You've sort of got a control system-ish, because you've got a target reticule that you move around, which is supposedly your shotgun, that you can inexplicably shoot down airplanes with, because you're then again menaced as you float upwards and sort of float about until you just land. That's not very exciting, is it?
Nope, not at all.
A balloon level. Nobody's ever said those words and been happy with it.
Not even the transatlantic balloon flight game, whatever that was. At
least you could be attacked by a giant bird on that and it'd pop your balloon. I mean, there's no chance of that here. It's so That's dreary. True. And remember, this is in almost total silence. There's no in-game music. There's only sound effects, and not many of them. Not even wind.
A balloon don't make much sound, does it? It's not like it's got engine noise.
But there's no wind sounds or anything. There's nothing. So you're just periodically just floating about, and then the only sound is you shooting at stuff or things shooting at you. It's really dull. So when you land your balloon, and there's a end of level thing in it. So land your balloon. Oh, you've landed it. Well, that was challenging. Level 3, you're in a jet fighter, which is about the best level in it because it's the fastest level in it. So it's A, over with quickly, and B, it's at a slightly more elevated pace. So it's exactly the same as the other levels, which on this point, with this speed, is more or less impossible anyway, because the bullets will find you in this game really annoyingly because they trace to your exact position all the time, which is quite challenging. Mm-hmm. Do that, and to complete that, you land level 4. You're finally in the biplane for some reason, and it's more of the same: upwards shooting across trees and landscapes, and then you'll land, and it's game over. You put your high score in, and that's that. It's a budget game, and as such, I suppose, can you give it some leeway around its central value? I don't know, really. Not with this one. I mean, I gave F1 Tornado a bit more leeway for that, but this is so inescapably dull. The pace is sluggish. It's empty of sound. It functions, but in the same way that playing table tennis on your own is you bat the ball and then that's it. It's like, it's over the table. There you go. And if you haven't tipped the table up to play it that way, so you just bat. It's like playing a one-player game of nothing. It's so dreary and emptiness. Lacks any va-va-voom or adrenaline that a shoot 'em up of this type needs. And there's so many top-down shooters on the C64, even at budget level, that this is just pedestrian and boring. And maybe if that appeals to you for reasons that I can't understand, maybe you'll get something out of it. The graphics, what there are in terms of the sprites, are really rudimentary. We've seen way better sprites in every other game of this time. Go and play Swiv or something like that. Invest a bit.
Yeah.
But there aren't loads of sprites on the screen here. It doesn't challenge that with a multiplexer. I think it avoids that by just having less than 8 sprites, or more often than not. The backgrounds are really, really dreary. The classic shoot with construction kit kind of backgrounds as well, but not as bad, not necessarily very well drawn. So large slates of green trees, brown mud for earth, that kind of thing. It's all much of a muchness. The backgrounds all look exactly the same as well on every level. It's a shoot with construction kit game without the excitement factors. And they linked it to movies and stuntmen, which sound exciting, but it's in name only. It's a theme. It kind of stitches the levels and vehicles together, but in no coherent way. This is nothing to do with stuntmen at all. It's just a crappy top-down shooter with 4 levels. So that's £1 a level. If that's the value for money, if that's how you get a return on your investment, fill your boots with it. I thought this was really rubbish. If I had £4, I'd have opted for F1 Tornado over this any day. Or, as we'll see, maybe the last game that we're going to look at. But it certainly wouldn't have been this one because it is crapola and just not very good. But what did you think?
Yeah, compared to the other 2 budget shooters, we have this easily the worst of the 3. As you rightly said, it had the look and feel of a shoot game, very much so, with some added UI and extras, and just it felt. And I've read it like you have, really, really dull to play. Again, the lack of music really hurts this. There's too much line between enemies attacking, so it just feels like a case of waiting all the time, like do do do.
Yeah, there's entire gaps, isn't there, where nothing happens.
Do do. And then the enemies, when they do appear, they're not particularly inventive or interesting.
No.
I also do not think the stuntman wrapper around this adds anything at all to the game. I think it may have been attached to this probably late in development to give an explanation as to why you're in a different craft each level. I reckon they made this and somebody went, "Why are you in a biplane and a helicopter?" And you're a stuntman in a movie. Quick, draw the UI at the bottom.
Yep.
And put a clapperboard in. I think that's what's happened here, because I would have preferred some kind of story to link the levels. Why it wouldn't have been hard to make this into some kind of spy-themed escape, shooter thing. You've managed to get the jewels, something, or you managed to get the. Now you've got to make it back to base. And that includes getting through these levels. And the first thing you get into is a helicopter that gets shot down, and then you manage to get into a balloon. And at least it would have been something, wouldn't it? But yeah, not to be. Shooting doesn't feel good in this either. 1 bullet on screen at a time. No. It's always a big no for me. No, I should be able to fire as fast as I can hit that fire button. This is like poof, 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 poof. Rubbish. Dull as anything. And this is a final thing. My helicopter in Heli Squad was better than this one.
It was. Yeah, your Heli Squad was way better than that.
My Heli Squad is way better than this. It's much more fun. I played it after this, and I was like, this is way better. It's dead hard and stuff, but it's better than this. The tanks and stuff move around and stuff. It's way better. But yeah, it's crap. But also as well, the game that this reminded me of, and which made me also go and play, was Terra Cresta. It's got that same kind of. It's got that same kind of landscape look, and that was 1986.
Yep, and by now probably £2.
Oh, probably. Way cheaper. Yep. But yeah, go play Terra Cresta, because if you want this kind of look, or Swiv, like you said.
Yep.
But if you want a budget game, Terra Cresta, Slap Fight, all those that came out around that period.
Yeah,
all
good.
Don't play Sky High Stuntman though; it's rubbish.
Nope.
Boring. Let's move on to our last game of the week. Jingle bells, jingle bells. I'm honestly surprised, Graham, that we've not had more Santa-themed games over the course of this podcast.
Yeah, you're right. We've not had many, have we, if any?
No, never had any, yeah. But here we are at the start of 1992. Obviously, this was released for Christmas 1991. and Zeppelin Games is Santa's Xmas Caper.
Yay.
A strange one, this, because looking around, it seems that every machine got a different game, slightly different game, a little like what we saw with that other budget title, Quick Snacks, if you remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the C64 got like a different version to all the others, and this is kind of different as well. So the Spectrum and Amstrad version got a fairly different game, same kind of style, but different, very, very different. This was then repackaged and released a couple of years later, in 93, for the Amiga and DOS. It got a completely different game, same artwork, but it was a Rainbow Islands knockoff.
Okay, weird.
Weird, huh? Very strange. Anyway, but whatever. It's another one from Zeppelin Games. Developer here is Reflective Designs. Ooh, fancy. They've done a load of games, none of which made it to Zap, but all sound cool. They've done Cobra Force, Elven Warrior, Steel Eagle, Hawk Storm, and Miami Chase. Loads of others.
Sound pretty good.
They do sound cool, don't they? They do sound like loads of films that were sort of made in the late 80s.
They do, actually, yeah. We're talking about
especially
like
Steel Eagle. It's like, what's that? That's the film starring Louis Gossett Jr. about planes in it.
Probably is.
And Hawk Storm, Miami Chase. That's a knockoff Michael Mann film.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's the TV film. Yeah, the TV version.
Yeah. The coder here is Duncan Scott Kershaw. He worked on those aforementioned games. He worked on all these sort of things. The visuals and title screen are by Time-Based Computer Design.
Okay, so unusual name. I know.
And the music is by Mark Wilson, who we've seen before. Go on, Mark Wilson. There's a story to this, and it's more than you normally get from a budget game. This actually is in-game, this story. So I've actually taken screen grabs of the game as the stories it tells you it on the title screen. So it says, the naughty Greenland Pixies spiked all Santa's Christmas pudding with what... Start again. The naughty Greenland Pixies spiked all Santa's Christmas puddings with wine. And now, after 10 helpings, he feels unable to deliver the prezzies.
Oh.
Okay. However, before Santa passed out, he did manage to brief you on which boys and girls deserved Christmas presents this year. You have been given the job of delivering these presents. You must fly through the air on your sled over Greenland, over the icy sea until reaching England. Once there, you can deliver your sacks of prezzies. However, the Pixies have decided to try to stop you on your rounds. Bit of a strange thing to do for a sort of underground rock band. but they'll try any naughty tricks to bring you to grief. Many of the really mischievous Pixies have taken to the air in toys. Only you can ensure that Christmas Day will be fun and happy for the children. This task is yours. Good luck, Santa. There you go.
Okay.
A spiked Santa. Naughty Pixies.
Aye.
Well,
those rogues.
I know. So there's a nice loading screen for this. It's a version of the front cover. It's got like a harried-looking Santa in his sleigh before we get to the title screen. And we've said it before. We'll say it again, no doubt. Zeppelin get front-end presentation. They just do. At the top of the screen, we have a big announcement. It says, "You are Santa Claus," which I liked, in Santa's Christmas Capers. Okay. Under this, we get some credits. We get all that story flicking from screen to screen. And at the bottom, we've got a scrolling message with some nice text. And we get a great version, an absolutely great version of Joy to the World from Mark Wilson. I was listening with key changes, loads of extra bits. It's just a really good Christmassy feel to it. I was like, this is a great tune. I was listening to it for ages. And it goes on far longer than you expect it to. And I was like, oh, what a great what a great tune that's just come up for no reason, Because normally we get these kind of versions of carols and stuff like that, and they're a bit crap.
Yeah.
But I thought this was great. Go listen to it on Lemon if you want, but it's another great Sid tune to my ears anyway. If you leave the music playing all the way through, it then gives you a fly through of the first level as well. So you can see what's coming up. It's all nice. Onto the game, though. Pressing fire gives us a little musical sting before we're straight in. So the game itself, this is a left to right horizontal shooter, like we saw with F1 Tornado. You are Santa in your sleigh. You're being pulled by Rudolph in front of you. Controls, standard 8-way movement, fire to shoot. Although, thank God, you can hold fire down rather than having to tap it, which is a great touch.
Yes.
The UI takes up the bottom 5 lines of the screen. It shows your score, the number of Santas remaining. You've got 6 at the start. And it's all surrounded by a lovely Christmas border. Lots of sort of holly and ivy and baubles and things like that. Nice theming. The game takes up the rest of the screen above it. And the game wastes no time in throwing stuff at you. Waves of enemies will immediately beset you, and you must do your best to avoid and shoot them, as is standard in shooters. It's a shooter. It is what it is. Thing with this game, though, is that the waves, they're not really your main enemies. They're not the things you need to worry about. No, it's the stationary turret enemies.
Yes.
that you'll want to take out, as these fire out a slow but indestructible wave of bullets at you. The waves don't shoot, they just come at you. The turrets fire stuff at you. These generally appear along the sort of top and bottom of the playing field, and you need to take these out. They all take quite a few hits to take out. You need to take these out as fast as possible whilst avoiding their bullets and the waves coming at you. There are only 3 levels. None of them are particularly that long, but they are hard. It takes some doing just to get to the second level. The 3 levels see you first going through Lapland, over a couple of houses, which are quite nice. Second sees you flying past icebergs and through ice caves before finally reaching England and flying over sort of terraced houses to deliver the present. Each of the 3 levels has an end boss. They're kind of weird. They're 2 Christmas things on their side joined together. It's very strange. The first one is 2 Xmas dolls holding hands, flip them 90 degrees, heads toward you, and they sort of move up and down and fire presents at you that home in on you. So they kind of look like a spacecraft, but if you look, there's two dolls on the side. Second level is 2 snowmen, again on their sides. They're the same, just 5 Christmas presents. The final level is 2 Christmas trees with an angel between them. Quite big, take up quite a lot of space, but they work. Nice bosses at the end. They're not out of sort of scale as well, like the massive tank in F1.
No.
They fire a present to you, like I said. Get past the trees, you get a congratulatory message and loads of bonus points. You get bonus points at the end of each level. The version I played was a bit glitched in that the text at the end of the level was all glitched out. But I've watched a version on YouTube and it gives you a sort of a congratulating message at the end of each level. So it's just the version I played. It's a very simple shoot 'em up, this, but I found it immensely playable. I really did. It's tough, not impossible, once you figure out the real enemies of the turrets and adjust your play accordingly. You don't play this like a sort of a nemesis or a salamander or an Armalite where you're going after the waves. You're going after the turrets. And you have to sort of do it sort of differently. Dodging the enemies and the bullets is fast and responsive. The controls are, smooth. And being able to just hold down the fire meant my finger never got tired. For me, though, it's the presentation of the whole thing that just lifts this up. Everything just works and it just puts a smile on your face. It's a rare game that you play and it makes you feel happy. The visuals are medium res, but they're really well drawn. Loads of character, and they're animated. Loads of animations. Everything is toys. Everything. Yeah. Toys and Christmas themes. So right from the beginning, you'll be set by spinning tops, toy planes, Christmas puddings, footballs, candy canes, little elves, pixies. Later on, cooked turkeys with animated legs and balloons. Everything you can think of about Christmas presents, everything like Christmas trees, everything. It's just there, and that's what the enemies are. So because it's the pixies throwing all these things at you, damn them and their debaser. Bullets, what fired out of the turrets, they're baubles or crackers. You fire out Christmas wreaths, crackers, and Christmas puddings. That's your bullets. Everything is Christmas themed, and they've taken the time to make sure everything is. The background's really good, simple mountains, but the little trees on the mountains are really nicely well drawn and things like that. There's some nice shading as well, but they're green and they've got snowy topped peaks. Remember that other game we played where the mountains are upside down, the wrong kind of shading? This gets it right. Well drawn houses, the big houses in the foreground with sort of windows and stuff, and fly past. The shading of use of white, blue, and grey also works really well in the ice parts on level 2. It looks nice. It's medium res. It's simple, but it's well done. Everything just works together. Nothing is out of place visually. The action is fast and supported by solid sound effects as well, and music. At the same time, we get it all in this. On the first level, you get a version of, it says on Lemon, it's called I Believe in Father Christmas. Okay. The second level wasn't one that I recognized. The third level's got a really good version of Jingle Bells.
Yep.
With a really sort of nice bounce. I sort of like the bounce in this version. It's like dum, 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 dum. I was like, this is really cool. These really help to keep this thematically consistent, really lift this game and solidify its Christmas feel. The only thing I would say is that I would have liked to have seen power-ups. Level 2, enemies require more shots to kill, and it's not always clear what you can fly past and what will kill you. So you can die quite quickly, and it's hard. You'll lose lives. As a budget title, though, it scores so highly in everything else that I can kind of overlook that. You get extra lives as well at every 10,000 points as well. You get a little sound effect, ping it off as well, just to let you know everything that you'd kind of want from the base level for a budget shooter is here. Only 3 levels, but they're hard, and it's good fun. I wasn't expecting to like this as much as I did. I didn't know what to expect. I had loads of fun, though, making my way through this. Played it with a big old smile on my face, like I said, for £4. If you got this as a present, you'd be having a good old time back then on Christmas morning. You'd put this in, you'd play it, the music would pound out, everyone would be like, oh, that sounds quite fun. It can't stand up to the big names in the genre. Of course it's not. It's £4. It's a budget title. Not supposed to. This is a lovingly produced Christmas game that just does Christmassy stuff in a Christmassy way. I really, really like this way more than I thought I would. That may just be me, but something in this really clicked with me and I really enjoyed it. So what a great way to end the week. There you go. What did you think?
I wouldn't say I was as taken with it as you clearly were, but It's, in this episode that's been Attack of the Budget Shooters, this is not doing anything crazy, psychotically different to any other shooter, but it's doing what it does very, very well. It's very Christmassy, which is positive, thing number one, and it's pretty challenging. And for, like you said, for $3.99 on Christmas Day, you're going to have a laugh with this. It's a no-brainer. There's not a lot to do, but what there is enough. It's very colourful, very Christmassy, like you say. I thought it was just missing things like maybe that you could have got little speed-ups or upgrades or little magic things. There's a little bit of magic missing.
Yeah, that's the thing it's lacking. Yeah.
And it sort of plays... Some of the things that are on screen look like things that you would collect more than would kill you. But that is a problem of the game in that it's...
Yeah.
It's making difficulty by misdirection, really. But that said, you're not going to take it too seriously for 3 levels and for £4, are you? It's not actually that bad. It's certainly a lot better than Sky High Stuntman, and probably about on par with F1 Tornado for very different reasons. But for a Christmas game, well, it's bang on the money, isn't it? It's really Christmassy. And that's kind of what the thing is. The sprites are, it's a Homer's webpage that you're sailing through, essentially, in this.
Yeah,
but at the same time, in this context, it kind of works. There's toys strewn everywhere. It just kind of works. The backgrounds are jovial enough. It's fun, not taking itself too seriously. And I think maybe we need that with these things. I think I would have just liked to have a bit more levels, a few more levels. I think wouldn't have got a miss, even if they were just boring repeats. I could have just gone through a little bit more of that. It is rock hard, though. But jovial, funny, a good Santa Claus game. And we've not, like you said, we've not really had many of them. The thing I like about this, right, amongst many other things, like I said, I'm not struck on it on you, but I am a sucker for a good UI. And that UI is really nice because it's like a Christmas wreath.
Yeah.
It's little touches like that really sort of, it's what Zeppelin are really good at. That. Mm-hmm. And it does that very well. And it's just, there's a nice touch, and there's just little touches like that all the way through. It's a great little thing. For budget money. Now, what did it score? 79? Yeah, you're not going to give this much more than that for what it is.
For me, it creep into the 80s for me.
I won't go that high. I mean, you're putting it up there in the 80s, then you're sort of hitting the territories of the IK pluses and stuff like that. It's nowhere near that. But for budget money, you're not going to go wrong on Christmas Day. You're going to be happy with it. In the 70s, he's fine for these. It's not going to get much higher than that because there's not much to it. But on Christmas Day, you're going to have a laugh with it. And that's really the only time it's ever going to come out. But Christmas Day, you're going to play it for a bit and you're not going to be disappointed, are you? So that's the win, isn't it? You would have been if you got Sky High Stuntman, though, or Elvira. So
you'd be well unhappy with those.
Yeah.
But you got this.
I enjoyed it for what it was. Again, inoffensive and Zeppelin doing what they do. So good stuff.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. Don't know why. I was like playing this quite a while.
Because it's fun. It's just the pressure's off a bit. It's a bit fun. Yeah. Not taking itself too seriously. And I quite like the Santa sprite, and the little reindeer was good.
Yeah, I do agree, though. First couple of goes ahead, I flew into the baubles thinking that they were collectibles.
They should be.
I mean, died.
They should have been collectibles.
Once I twigged, everything kills you. Then it was like, all right, shoot everything.
Yeah, it's just, I think if they needed to elevate this game, that would have probably taken an extra couple of weeks of coding, which they thought, we're not doing that. It's £4, whatever. But that's like I said with F1 Tornado. Zeppelin have a tendency to know the limitations of their budget games. You get what you get.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you want more than that, the price goes up. And I'm like, that's fair. And that's their business plan. That's fair.
Yeah, I imagine as well, another couple of weeks might have taken this past the Christmas date.
Well, maybe. But like I said, if you're going to keep a game at $3.99, you can't put weeks and weeks and weeks of development into it.
No.
You get it to a certain point, they put enough polish on it to make it okay, and then they release it. That's fine. We've seen far worse, produced for far longer,
way worse,
for far more, and they've been crap. This is not that, so it's certainly not those things. It's just it's like an F1 Tornado. It's the same sort of idea, just budget shooters that are done okay.
Certainly my game of the week, anyway.
I think because of it's fun. I think I'd agree because the other ones are a bit funless. I think.
Yeah. Tornado's better. Like I said, if you play the music on top of it.
Yeah.
Anything is. We say it so often. Put bloody music in.
Yeah. Well, it shows you when you with Santa's Christmas caper. Put that Christmas music just elevates the game. We've said it so many times, haven't we? Where it's a little bit of music, and we've said it a lot more recently as well. I've noticed in the past 2 episodes.
Yeah,
we've been saying this about a lot. Too many games have got no in-game music at the moment. I don't like it.
No, I don't either. Anyway, there you go. That's it. That's this week. So we looked at, what did we look at? We looked at, well, we just said, F1 Tornado, budget shooter, does what it says on the tin. Elvira, the arcade game, rubbish.
No idea what it says on the tin.
No, something about assets, I think.
Yeah, something about that. Yeah. Do something.
Sky High Stuntman, which was really dull.
Dull. Really
dull. And Santa's Xmas Caper, which is a good, fun Christmas blast.
Yeah, bring the fun. That's what it does.
Yeah, there you go. So that's it. That's it for this week. But there's not much else to add. If you want to support us, you can do that. If you enjoyed the episode 200, don't know what much more we got left, but you can join our Patreon. We have a Patreon. It's patreon.com/Zapped to the Past. You get the episodes early. You get them on the Friday. If you want them for the weekend, you get them ad-free as well, which is cool. You get to join our Discord server, which is nice, and sort of join in the high score challenges and things like that. You also get mentioned in the shout out as well when we do that, and anything else. Get to ask questions for Christmas specials and ask the podcasts and anything else we think. We've got Ko-fi at ko-fi/Zapped to the Past. If you wish to donate something, that's greatly appreciated. We're obviously on all the social media sites, so if you want to come and chat and say anything and have a bit of a chat, that's cool as well. About it. Oh, we've got a shop, zappedtothepast.shop.
We have.
There's a website as well, zappedtothepast.com, if you want to go and look at the crap verts. All the crap verts from all the episodes, they're all on there. You can go look at them all and laugh at them. And all. So if you're looking for the place to download old episodes as well, they're all on there as well, month by month. So it's easier to download them from there than probably any other site, I'd have thought, because there's just a link there for a download. So if you head there, if you want to download an old episode, you can get it from there. I think that's about it. Next week we finish off January 92. What are we looking at? We got The Simpsons, Bart versus the Space Mutants.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got International Five-a-Side Soccer. And we've got Phileas Fogg's balloon battles.
Balloons in games that are making a resurgence.
It's like level 2 of Sky High Stuntman, however it is. Finally, we've got Tarzan Goes Ape.
Okay.
That's it, Graham. That is it.
Okay.
So that's what we've got coming up next week. I don't think you got anything you want to add? Anything you want to say?
Battle of the budgets, wasn't it? And the question at the beginning was, were they budget bargains or budget bastards? At least there was some bargains in there, and only maybe, actually the irony of it is the biggest bastard there was full price. So
yeah, yes it was. It really was. Dreadful thing. A dreadful, pointless, aimless, wandering, boring thing.
Yep.
And on that
Pixel
note,
boobs.
Assets. I think you find the word is assets.
Pixel assets.
Yeah, so you can see your assets if you show your globes.
That's more instructions now than they're on the game. So
True, I suppose. On that note, I think we better go. As ever, I have been Adrian Mills.
And I have been Graham Raddings.
And you have been listening to Two Globes and Some Assets. And we'll see you again next week. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to the Zapped to the Past podcast. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the world of Commodore 64 games, as well as the music, films and TV from around the 1980s, driven, of course, by the issue of Zap 64 magazine published at that time. We will return with a whole new batch of games and stuff to talk about next week. Until then, if you want to listen to or download previous episodes of Zapped to the Past, and why wouldn't you, they can all be found on our website at zappedtothepast.com, as well as being available on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Deezer, Audible, Player FM, and, well, pretty much anywhere where we can upload them. By the way, we do always love to hear from our amazing listeners, so if you'd like to contact us about anything in the podcast or beyond, you can do so by emailing us at zappedtothepast@gmail.com. We're also active on Twitter under @ZapTother, as well as Facebook, Instagram, and most social media platforms. Just search for Zapped to the Past and you'll find us. Oh, and if you like the podcast and what we're doing, please do like, share, review, rate us. It really helps. Something, apparently. The Zapped to the Past podcast is written and produced by Adrian Mills and Graham Raddings, and recorded at Flaky Bits 2.0 Studio. All opinions expressed are those of the writers, and while we indeed love Zap 64 magazine, the Zapped to the Past podcast is not affiliated with it in any way. Stay safe, see you next time, and remember, we play these games so you don't have to.